and then talk about our November meeting. So that's kind of the agenda for the evening. There we go. Thank you, Kelly.
Yep, and I just started the recording.
Perfect. I see Christian's on. Like I said, so that he didn't have to stick through our entire meeting, we put him to the front. So Christian, are you live? I'm assuming you're going to take over and share your screen with the slides.
Yep, I'm here, and that was my plan, was to just share my screen.
Perfect. So Christian, is it Park or Park? Is that the correct?
Park. Yep.
Is with Regenis, and introduce yourself to the group and let her rip.
Awesome. Here, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Can I get into it here? All right, guys. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's time. Oh, there's a note taker giving me some feedback. Is there any way I could mute that? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's time this evening. My name is Christian Park. I'm the Great Lakes District Manager with Regenesis. I have an introduction slide here and a couple slides as well, so I'll get into it a little bit more here in a minute. But my presentation this evening is going to be on the in-situ remediation of PFAS. At Regenesis, that's what we do, is in-situ remediation of different contaminants across from chlorinated solvents to petroleum hydrocarbons and now PFAS. So we're going to go through some remedy selection considerations and performance expectations from an application using our products. So yeah, I'll give you a quick introduction to Regenesis if you're not familiar with us. We do a lot of work in situ in Michigan. We work with Eagle hand in hand on a lot of these projects. So you may be familiar with us, you may not. I know everybody here is going to be familiar with PFAS as a contaminant, but we'll just quickly step through some challenges it poses as a contaminant type. Then we'll take in a risk perspective on in-situ PFAS treatment, followed by a summary of Regenesis's colloidal activated carbon technologies. So, like I said, I'm Christian Park. I manage our Great Lakes District at Regenesis that covers the state of Michigan. I spent my first 4 years with Regenesis in the field installing Regenesis technologies firsthand. I was out on job sites working with drillers, doing the actual injection work for the first 4 years. Did a couple sites in Michigan, but I was based out of Atlanta at the time, so I spent most of my time in the Southeast and on the East Coast. And then about 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I joined our design team doing the technical design work, still based out of Atlanta. And then in the last couple years, I moved up to Chicago to manage the Great Lakes District. So if you're not familiar with Regenesis, we run the gambit in terms of in-situ remediation from aerobic biodegradation down to oxidation, chemical reduction, and what we're going to be talking about today, in-situ sorption. We are a 4-phase company from research and development to the technology side of things, where I currently sit, our remediation services side of things, where I previously was. And we also have a sister company that's sort of under the same roof, Land Science Technologies. They're in vapor mitigation. So getting into PFAS. As we all know here, PFAS resistant to degradation. They're found everywhere. The fate and transport is complex, and we're understanding more and more every day. Last couple of years I've gone to the Michigan State PFAS Research Summit, and I always find it interesting that how little we currently know about all of these, thousands and thousands of different species of PFAS at this point. And if you combine these factors with the contaminant having the lowest cleanup criteria of any contaminants that we traditionally manage, you're going to get a tough to treat contaminant. And currently, there's 2 treatment options. There's pumping and treating, containing that plume with a pumping system, or treating it in situ. Pumping and treating is a perfectly good solution to containing a plume. There are maybe some misconceptions that go along with pumping and treating. The pump time on an aquifer to actually clean up an aquifer to 0 or even to just below MCLs at this point. The sorptive capacity of these PFAS molecules is pretty strong, so it's going to want to stick in the aquifer material itself, as well as at that air-water interface. So you're going to be pumping on these. You'll be pumping on these aquifers for a long time, and that's a lot of active remediation, active work on site to clean up these sites. Our alternative that we offer at Regenesis is an in situ remediation, where we're immobilizing the PFAS within the aquifer. One thing to take into account just up front is, this isn't a destructive process. We're immobilizing the PFAS in a true sense of the word. We're sorbing the PFAS physically onto our product that we're installing in the subsurface. But remediation by immobilization is a form of remediation in and of itself. The ITRC defines remediation as a process used to reduce or eliminate the risk for humans in the environment that may result from the exposure to harmful chemicals. So what we want to key in on here is that reduce or eliminate the risk. So risk is a function of a hazard's potential for exposure. The more hazard or the more potential for exposure, the greater the risk. And that's what we manage every day, is risk on contaminated sites, whether it's petroleum hydrocarbons, chlorinated solvents, or now PFAS. And in any case, on any site, if you can eliminate that potential for exposure, you are eliminating the risk, even if that hazard is not eliminated in situ. If you have ever come across a hexchrome site or managed a hexchrome site, this is a very similar treatment to hexchrome, where hexchrome is reduced to trivalent chrome in situ. And that trivalent chrome is still just as toxic as hexchrome, but it's no longer mobile. It's precipitated out. It's no longer mobile in the groundwater, eliminating that exposure pathway. And that's what we're doing here with PFAS. And we're doing that utilizing activated carbon. Our activated carbon product that we're using is PlumeStop. It is colloidal activated carbon. And what colloidal means in this context here is that is just a mixture of solids suspended in a liquid. In this case, the solids are activated carbon particles, 1 to 2 microns in diameter. For a reference point, that's about the size of a red blood cell. These activated carbon particles are suspended as a colloid in a polymer solution. And that polymer solution helps to distribute the product widely under a low pressure application in the subsurface. We're injecting this material into aquifer units. We're trying to take advantage of the natural flow regime in an aquifer. We are not trying to frack this material in and create new exposure pathways and new contaminant transport pathways. The biggest plus of the material's particle size being this 1 to 2 micron diameter is that it provides extremely fast absorption sites compared to something like a granular activated carbon. And that's because the particle size is so much smaller. We're talking orders of magnitude more sorption locations per pound of PlumeStop versus per pound of a granular activated carbon. And essentially what we're aiming to do here is convert that underlying geology into a purifying filter, taking the PFAS out of suspension and locking it onto these activated carbon particles. And I know this is all pretty abstract if you haven't seen this performed in the field. This is just a little animation here to sort of illustrate what I'm talking about here. You have some PFAS source on this property here, this airport property, actively contributing to a groundwater plume. What we do is we come out to site and install a permeable reactive barrier, or a curtain, some people call it, of activated carbon that captures the mobile contaminant, in this case PFAS, before it egresses off site. So we're aiming to stop the contaminant movement in its tracks. This next slide just shows some physical properties of Plume Stop. It goes into suspension totally as a liquid, as you see there on the left. That's basically a scaled down version of what we do on site. The Plume Stop ships to site in IBC totes as a concentrate, and then we dilute it on site and inject it into the aquifer. We have 2 soil tubes here. This is a silty sand type material. Plume Stop is going to be introduced on the left, and on the right is going to be a larger grain carbon, more like a granular or a particulate activated carbon. So Plume Stop is going to be on the left, and you can see the distribution of this product in an aquifer versus something with a larger particle size. That was the same amount of material by weight introduced into each of the 2 soil tubes here. But the distribution of the Plume Stop is plainly visible, and that's just because of the smaller particle sizes. It allows us to truly coat the soil grains and not clog pore throats and not alter the permeability of these aquifer units. We don't want to inject this material and create a big impermeable mass that groundwater is just going to avoid. We want to truly coat these soil grains with the activated carbon, a very thin layer of it, and allow for water to pass through as normal. So this QR code will take you to a paper by Grant Carey from Pore Water Solutions. Grant and his team assessed 17 field applications showing successful remediation of PFAS. On all 17 sites, co-contaminants were present, whether it be petroleum hydrocarbons or chlorinated solvents. The modeling that Grant and his team performed indicated decades of treatment from a single application. They're a little more aggressive in their modeling, estimating 50 to 60 years of treatment in-house. Whenever we do our modeling for the dosing of each job site, we are more conservative, estimating about 30 years of treatment. And that's just to be a little more one-in-one comparatively with a pump and treat system. That's about the average lifespan of a pump and treat system. The research that Grant and his team did also came to some conclusions about the short chain PFAS molecules. They will sorb to the activated carbon, but that sorptive capacity is lesser so than the PFOA, PFOS, PFHXS, these larger, more regulated compounds. So at this point, these short chain compounds are not regulated, but they also don't drive the risk at this point. So what are some possible limitations of the product? It's not a silver bullet. There's going to be sites where we just won't recommend the product. One of those sites is landfills. It's not that we can't apply near landfills. It's just that every landfill site has to be carefully considered and carefully designed for because it has many hydrophobic competitors that are going to preferentially sorb onto the activated carbon, the Plume Stop. So this is something that we have to know ahead of time, and we have to dose for it accordingly. Very fast plumes in a clean aquifer can pose issues. Again, if they're not properly dosed for on the front end of the project. And that's just because, like I said, we're trying to take advantage of the natural flow regime of these aquifers. And this remedial approach is entirely a contact sport. That's why this small particle size is so favorable for us, is because we're getting good distribution in our treatment areas. But a very fast plume with clean aquifer media, those PFAS molecules moving through the area won't have the residence time within a treatment area to really sorb well. So that's just something that we'd need to take into account on the front end of these applications. And the last bullet here is just very deep plumes where installation costs may become prohibitive. It's expensive to put anything down 200 feet below the ground surface. So at that point, you're past the limitation of a typical direct push rig, and you're looking at doing some injection well installation, and that gets pricey pretty quickly. So what's the expected longevity? Like I said, Grant and his team estimated decades of treatment from a single application. We do as well. We're just more conservative. We, model, like I said, 20 to 30 years of treatment from a single application. One aspect of the product and of this, not just this product, but of any in situ remedy treating PFAS, is that any reinjection of the product, whether it be slightly upgradient or slightly downgradient, will essentially restart the remediation time frame, that clock, so to speak, because you're just installing the same number of sorption sites that were available before you saw breakthrough in the barrier. So typically, if you do see breakthrough in one of these barriers, all you're going to need is some sort of partial reinjection to sort of close any gaps that you might see after an application. And this is, to this point, all of our design assumptions whenever we go out to these sites is that we have a constant incoming source of PFAS. Just because so many of these sites, the source is dubious at best. But if you do have a site with a clear source area and we could treat that source area, that would diminish the incoming mass in our barrier system, which would allow for longer and longer treatment as that barrier is dealing with less and less mass. So if we can diminish that incoming mass of PFAS, maybe down the line, no further treatment may ever be needed. So PFAS source zone treatment is sort of our next phase that we're going to transition into. This is Regenesis' newest line of products. PlumeStop's been out on the market since 2014, and we've been installing it on PFAS sites since 2018. SourceStop is our second brand name associated with PFAS remediation, and that is aimed, as the name implies, at source zones that are explicitly defined. Think, fire training areas, things like that, or a spill where the spill was contained to, XYZ volume on site. And what we're aiming to do here is mix the activated carbon in with source area soils, or attack that capillary fringe area where you're going to find your highest PFAS concentrations in the dissolve phase. And what we're aiming to do here is stabilize these source areas. So essentially think of it like like any other source area stabilization project, but to reduce your leaching potential. But in this case, you're adding activated carbon in with the soil and mixing it that way to reduce that leaching potential. It is immediately effective. This is a physical process, not a chemical process. So as soon as that activated carbon is installed in the subsurface, it immediately goes to work sorbing anything that has that sorptive capacity like PFAS does. The best part about mixing this product in with the soil for a source area treatment is that is the easiest visual confirmation you'll ever have with any product you work with on sites. This goes in very, very black. It's like ink. You can immediately tell. I have a video here in a second. You can immediately tell what has and has not been treated during a field application. And both formulations of the SourceStop, the liquid and the solid, use the colloidal activated carbon. They're just targeting different areas of the subsurface. So the liquid SourceStop, we're aiming for bottom, spray applications at the bottom of an excavation or injections at that capillary fringe mark. And the solid form is aimed more towards soil mixing in the vadose zone. So here's some photos of field applications. Like I said, you can immediately tell what has and has not been treated, like that picture on the bottom hand right corner there. I want to talk for a second about this picture in the top right corner. This is SourceStop being installed in a trench in Alaska surrounding a new construction build. They were constructing on a peat bog that was, or a peat layer that was contaminated with PFAS. And as they were adding more and more construction layers to this peat layer, they were concerned about the PFAS moving horizontally due to compression. You think that peat sort of like a sponge layer almost holding that PFAS. So they were worried about horizontal movement radially out from the site. So what we did was trench in the source stop surrounding the building to capture any PFAS moving horizontally as they built on this site. And I have there's another picture of that same site just showing the trench line before it was installed. Like I said, we also inject at that capillary fringe area, targeting that air-water interface where we all know PFAS like to get hung up. This is a pretty cool video. This was a site in Norway where we were mixing the source area soils ex situ and then replacing them back into the excavation area. So you can see the bucket mixer here mixing the activated carbon in with treated or untreated soil, coating it all black. I can let it play through one more time. So it's an easy application. It's easy to tell what has and has not been treated, and then you just replace it back in the same hole. So on an ideal site, that's what we'd like to do, is combined source and plume treatment. Obviously, we know that's not always going to be the case where you have a nice defined source area. But on sites where we do have a nice defined source area, anything we can do to reduce the leachability of that source zone is just going to increase the longevity of any barriers you have, downgrading it and reducing your offsite contaminant egress. I also mentioned here, we do have a warranty available for the plume stop barrier. It's a standard 10-year warranty. If we ever see breakthrough during or following an application of plume stop, we'll come out and patch the hole and essentially fix it, included in the original cost of the project. So speaking of cost, this is just a pricing analysis by Ramble. This was at an airport in the UK. And this is based on 15 years of treatment, and basically it breaks down cost at different times throughout the treatment, from the system design and management through the remediation installation down into operations and management and the waste management side of things. And so this is pretty consistent with what we see on sites where plume stop makes sense, is we typically come in at about 1/3 of the cost of a pump and treat system, especially when you consider the lifespan of the system. So plume stop and source stop, they've been used on 70+ sites worldwide. At this point, we have over 200 in the design and review phase. A lot of the work in the U.S. Has been done in Michigan. So if you're familiar with either of these products, you might be. They've been installed a ton in Michigan. We've done a ton of our research and development work in Michigan. So yeah, we're proven to achieve and maintain these single-digit EPA MCLs without a lingering exposure risk and at a lower cost over the lifespan of the treatment system than something like pump and treat. Yeah, so here's my contact information. If you guys ever are working on a site or come across a site where maybe a consultant has proposed the use of activated carbon plume stop, and you would like to talk through any questions you have, feel free to reach out to me and set up a meeting, and we can talk through them.
Thank you, Christian. That was very informative. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, I see Rick's got a question. Got his hand up first.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Very interesting presentation. What are the sites in Michigan that you have installed the plume stop?
So I'd have to go back and find the whole list. I know the biggest one to date is a project in outside of Detroit with AECOM that Rebecca Mora presented on at Battelle a couple years ago. It was the refinery site north of Detroit. I don't think I can say it by name yet. I think our NDA is still intact there. One I can say by name that we've been working on a couple times, and we have a pretty large expansion planned in the future, is the Camp Grayling Army Airfield. We did our first ever plume stop application for the treatment of PFAS at the Camp Grayling Airfield, and we did our first soil source stop beta test at Camp Grayling. We expanded into a full scale or a full pilot test this summer, and we have plans for a full scale either next year or in 2027.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I can follow up with send you the link to our website. Our website breaks down our case studies. You can break it down by state and by contaminant type and all that. I know we have at least 7 or 8 written case studies from Michigan.
Okay.
Teresa. I think you're next.
Good evening, everybody. Teresa Lander from Detroit, Michigan. Christian, thanks for that promising PFAS cleanup visual. That helps break down. I have several questions. One, the far as the plume stop.
Yes.
And the aquifers. So once the PFAS is absorbed, it's contained in the aquifer? Yes,
it is left in place, but it's the sorptive capacity of the activated carbon is such that it won't let go of the PFAS after some point in time. The microscopic forces that sorptive capacity of the PFAS is stronger holding on to that activated carbon than the groundwater flow sort of trying to pull it away from it.
Okay, that was leading to my next question regarding groundwater being pulled away from it, and then possibly the groundwater going into wells and other freshwater sources. That's why I wanted to know what's contained in the aquifer. Second question.
Yep.
How large of a site at that cost, that cleanup cost, did you guys do that cleanup at how large of a site?
So we've installed plume stop on a wide range of sites. I think that pricing analysis by Rambo, that was about $1 million site, but that was a larger site at an airport. The site in Detroit that I mentioned a minute ago, that was our largest project to date at Regenesis. That was about $3.5 million.
And how many acres was that?
That was a fire training facility, so it was a pretty sizable area. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but it was our barrier essentially lined the property line of the refinery.
Okay, my last question. In regarding the source stop, going to the cleanup in soil, you said that it could be contained. And it would be contained in place, or or put into a lined containment area? Is that correct?
So it's contained in place. You don't have to line it following the application. Yep.
Okay.
Now,
thank you. Those were my questions.
Yeah. And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Quick, no, you're fine. We have seen it used, the source stop specifically on stockpiled soils, where the soil is sitting on top of a liner, but they know there's PFAS in that soil, and they've mixed in the source stop with some soil stockpiles, especially on construction sites.
Thank you.
I think Shelley, you're up next.
Hi, Christian. This is Shelley Thurston from Bay City. And actually, we are using Regenesis materials in our closed landfill right now. We've just done a pilot study around one of our filter gates, and it's been overwhelmingly successful so far. We're at about 90 days of testing, and everything looks amazing. So we're moving forward with, over the next 2 to 3 years, installation along the whole western border of our landfill with the material, and really hoping and looking forward to it doing its job very well. So kudos to the team. They've been great to work with. We've been very pleased with the product so far. So just wanted to give a testimonial. We are using it in Bay City, and it's been going great so far.
Well, that's great to hear. I know, we really enjoyed working with Bay City on that one, and AKT, who's the consultant working with us there as well. Yeah, that was a unique application where we were installing the activated carbon, sort of augmenting an already in place funneling gate system. So, that was a fun one for us on the R&D side as well. So I'm glad to hear the
Fantastic.
results are as good as we had hoped they would be.
Yes, looks great so far.
So, Christian, this is Jason. One question for you.
Mhm.
You mentioned, I guess, the challenges with short chains and ultra short chain.
Mhm.
They're all remedial technologies that are challenged by those because they tend
Yep.
to blow through them. Anything in the R&D focused to help deal with those in the future? I know
Hey,
TFA, trifluoroacetic acid, is an up and coming PFAS. It's extremely common it's probably the most abundant PFAS actually in the environment. It's just not really looked for in North America at the moment, but
mhm.
it's pretty prevalent in Europe. So I'm sure they're going to find it here.
Yeah.
Anything in the hopper to help deal with the short chains?
So at this point, the best design change we can make to help with the short chains is increasing our treatment parallel to groundwater flow, just to give those short chains a sort of longer residence time within our treated area, to give them a higher probability of interacting with an unclaimed sorption location. So that's really what we've seen with the short chains, given the most success, is being able to give a sort of a wider berth to them physically. I don't know, besides increasing the carbon content per pound, that would be the other option there. But physically, it's going to work the same way as it would with the long chains. It basically just takes more interaction for those short chains to get bound up.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else have any questions for Christian, or we can let him go? Thank you, Christian.
Can you hear me?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
Yep. Hi, this is Abby Hendershot. Sorry, I'm driving today. Christian, just wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about the stabilizers that you guys sometimes have to put in along the plume stop to keep it from potentially leaking into wetlands and other areas that are more permeable, that you might have, greater opportunities for the plume stop to kind of migrate in places you don't want it to.
Yeah, definitely. So, as you can imagine, the introduction or the influence of PFAS into wetlands and rivers and other surface body waters is a major concern. And a major use case for plume stop is stopping the contaminant egress into these bodies of water. What these bodies of water nearly always have nearby is very fast aquifer media and a pretty quick groundwater flow emptying into these rivers. So what we can do is install a mix of calcium chloride and water between the plume stop barrier and the receptor that we don't want any activated carbon to accidentally leak into. And what that calcium chloride does is it flocculates the carbon. It immediately breaks down the polymers that are mixed in with the activated carbon that allows for that distribution, and it drops the activated carbon out of suspension. Essentially, what we call it a parking agent, the calcium chloride, and that's exactly what it does. It parks the activated carbon in place as soon as it comes in contact with those salts, and it's doing that by breaking down that polymer solution. So yeah, that's a great point. We don't want the activated carbon getting into any surface water bodies. We want to keep it in the ground where it's doing work and where it's capturing the PFAS.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Thank you, Christian. Hopefully, I don't know if, can you make these slides available?
Yeah, I can send these over to you guys. Definitely. Yep.
Perfect.
It's in
If
a
you send
PDF.
them to me or Kelly, then she can one of us can distribute to the group and go from
Okay.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. I'll send them over to you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah. I appreciate the time, everybody. And yeah, have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you. Hey, Kelly, can you go back to I guess the agenda and let's do our roll call.
Yeah, sorry, my battery died on my mouse. See.
Oh, is it in the wrong time?
Yeah. All right, roll call. Amy Stockman. Angela,
I'm here.
Brad,
Yep, I'm here too. Thank you. No updates from our area. Thanks.
Cynthia. Connie,
Present, no update.
Daniel. The other Daniel. Gail Manswitz. Gail Dugan.
Present.
Thank you.
I'm here and there is no update for the Howell area.
Nope. See you, but I can't hear you. Is it him or is it just his note taker?
Yeah, not sure on that one.
John said he wasn't going to be able to make it. Lois.
Present, no report.
Lynn Knopf. Lynn McIntosh. Mary.
I see her. She's on mute.
It's already unmuted, but there's nothing playing.
Okay. Arande. Pam. Patty.
Here, no report.
Portia. Rick Burns. Rick Radisky.
Yeah, here, no update.
Samara. Sandy.
I'm here traveling. They have finished the capping at the House Street site and got all the landscaping in, so I think we are done. That's my only update.
Great news. Shalene.
I'm here.
Stacy. Teresa.
Here.
Tony.
Here.
And Bill. Bill? Or not?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. I do have updates. I just want to comment on the presentation. I'm sorry I didn't do that earlier, but that's really a great concept, is to not move the PFAS. We've been sending stuff from our landfill into our wastewater plant. We've been doing pump and treat for another location that's gone into the river. They end up in the rivers. I just see this as when we move PFAS from one area to another, whether we know we're doing it or not, it exposes other people to the problem, and it might be better off to leave it where it is, to do a pump and treat system where you bring it up and put it right back down, or what this gentleman just showed us was excellent. So I just want to comment, the idea of not moving it in hindsight is a really good one. Our Herring Township area was given $3 million to extend pipes, to move the wells. The homes, it took from May till October to put probably 25, 30 homes with extended pipes. They're not turned on yet because the well systems, the new well locations are not in place yet, but that's been a successful way to avoid people from being exposed to this. And that's, they had an area ripped up from May to October now. They just put the final touches on, and it looks great. And those folks are waiting for clean water. We, as a city, asked for $8 million. We kind of worked with the legislators and tried to get it off the back of Eagle so that you wouldn't have to worry about what really is a huge hardship for our Cadillac residents. There's 250 approximate homes that either need pipe extensions, 75 actually, that could use pipe extensions like Herring got. So that may take 2 to 3 years if we had the money to make those extensions. Other homes, there's 200 homes that just need to pay for the hookup. These people cannot afford it. There's no liable party at this point, but the $8 million did not come through for our community. Nothing did, but there's other monies that came for a Lake Mitchell sewer authority that needs money to avoid the spills that have been going on into the Lake Mitchell, which I'm sure includes PFAS. And other monies were given to fix a culvert. And if that culvert were to collapse, the PFAS coming through in the Clam River would flood 200 to 500 homes in our town. So that is a high priority. The city is by not getting the money, has not talked about how they're going to handle the politics of the hookups. There's an election coming up. This is the political time in our city, and the city's not explaining, now that the money is not readily available. There are sources through Eagle, we're being told, and through federal sources, but these people can't afford it, and it's going to be a campaign issue, I think, between now and November, which is coming right up. And people are curious how the city wants to handle that, whether it's going to come out of general taxes or, as it always has been, coming out of the homeowner's pocket. Problem here is these people had clean wells, or at least they thought they did, and someone else has polluted them, in my opinion. And there's no liability being attached to the polluters at this point. We have a EPA involvement in Cadillac, which was excellent. Amelia and Catherine were they did their job, which is adding PFAS to the list of contaminants that need to be dealt with by our LDFA, which is a finance authority, a pump and treat system. So they've required that, which was excellent. The federal government, though, claims, which is, I think, shaky, or I don't see it. And they're not telling us who the source is, but they're claiming it's not from one of the 40 properties that, including the plating company, that brought PFAS into or are bringing it into our community. We do have a foundry here, and I'm wrapping up shortly, that has been putting in this Nix sticks, and they're using that as a release agent. There's a sand foundry. Our entire town is built on foundry sand. And this is the product they're using. I'm curious if someone could help me in the committee or Eagles context and explain what Nix sticks. It means non-stick in my lingo, and that's the product that's used in the foundry. I'm just curious if that's ever been tested for PFAS releases, because that foundry sand, it's not sold, but it's trucked to landfill or to gravel pits. And I believe it's the source of a lot of our construction is used. This stuff is used. I'm just getting worried that we need to know what's in the Nick sticks and then whether we're spreading PFAS throughout the entire community by accident. Again, finally, though, Catherine was wonderful. She came to Cadillac with Amelia. I've just been told she was furloughed by the EPA or the federal government, and I'd be sorry to hear if that's true. I did try to email her, and she didn't respond. So I'm worried that she's been furloughed by the federal government, and that this is a person who came to our town, sat in a car with me for 2.5 hours with Amelia, going all over, and learned our community and did a really nice job of investing herself and put the plan together, or the 5-year review, which was acceptable in my view, other than not naming the source and clearing all these properties that were likely originators of the PFAS. In any event, I'm worried that the federal government is shutting down the EPA to a degree, and that valuable employees for rural areas like this, we're losing them. So that is at least bad news initially, and I hope that changes. Other than that, Eagle's been doing a great job continuing to test up here. We have our water group continuing to test. So they're still looking at things. I appreciate that they're here. And there's also a test off, so to speak, where 3 different companies basically are testing at the same source. We're going to get to the bottom of how accurate everything is, and we're looking forward to those results. They haven't come forward yet, but that's a wonderful thing by Eagle to be involved in, because they're fine-tuning the testing processes that we have. Most of them are just enough to tell us, hey, we've got a problem here, and to do further testing. But we're getting a lot of hot spots still, and like 10 out of 10 tests will come in, and they're all right at or above federal criteria. In any event, we're still working hard on it up here, and we appreciate any support we get from the state of Michigan in the future, and from the EPA. And we're kind of crossing our fingers on that one, because it just looks like the federal government's shrinking, and that's a valuable asset that I think communities will need moving forward. Thank you.
Thanks for that update, Bill, and all the detail there. That's a great update.
Thank you.
I guess moving on, Rick, do you want to give us an update on the PFAS week activities in Ellery?
Sure. Just a second here. Yeah, we met last week, and we kind of decided to scale the plans back a bit, and I was questioning, and I think everybody agreed on our little committee that maybe we didn't need to have, since this was the first, this will be the first event, that we don't need to have a Eagle-led seminar series or something, a major seminar led by Eagle. And our concern was that a lot of people would not have time to take off during the to attend the meeting. I mean, people like myself would. I'm retired, so I would go, and other professional people would take off. But how to make it accessible to the general public would be a little difficult. So we decided to focus on 5 areas for the events. We kind of split Michigan up into 4 sections. The Northwest, Southwest, Northeast, and then Southeast, and then the Upper Peninsula. And I'm working with some people at Saginaw Valley to come up with some events for the Northeast area. And then Sandy and I are working with people in the Southwest area. And I think Sandy's going to also contact Flo up in the Traverse City area as a potential area. And then we've got the Ecology Center, both Erica Bloom and then Daniel Brown. And we'd certainly like to hear from others in the Detroit area about what type of events that you would like to have. And these could be lectures or presentations, panel discussions, just introducing the concept of PFAS to the public and why it's important, and then potential solutions for cleaning up the problem. There's also a lot of interest in PFAS-free products too. So maybe Connie or Teresa, if you've got any suggestions about some types of events for the Detroit area, we'd certainly like to hear it. And we're trying to also look at having some speakers that might be able to come and talk at different places. So I'm certainly available, and there's other professors like Courtney Kerrigan that might be available. So, but anyway, we're in the planning stage, and we've decided again not to have a major Eagle-led event, but just have this all be community-led events in 5 major areas around the state. And then the last update is, I don't really have an update on it, but the proclamation is still out there and being considered. So once the proclamation is read, then the PFAS Awareness Week will be official. But we're still planning, just having discussions and starting to plan some of the events for the areas. So if you have any suggestions on how to make PFAS, raise the awareness of PFAS, we'd certainly like to hear it. And I just wanted to mention too that I have a small grant with West Michigan Environmental Action, and we're working on a PFAS task force for Muskegon County. And as part of that, we're offering some programs at libraries. So libraries are certainly really a good place to have discussions about PFAS. So that's another suggestion. So any comments or questions?
Yes, this is Teresa. I had to step away. What dates did you give for PFAS Awareness Week?
It's March 22nd through 28th.
Okay, 22nd to 28th. And you're looking for suggestions as far as panels or workshops or something like that, correct?
Right, just something that would help raise the awareness of PFAS to the general public in the affected communities. So
Okay.
PFAS and health, consumer products seems to be a real issue that people have heard about it in water, but when you start talking about being in makeup and paint and all the other things that it's in, that it's really surprising. So I think just a general discussion about how PFAS has made it into all sorts of areas in our lives and what we can do about it. So.
Okay, because I appreciate that. Connie participated in an event we had at Community Recreation Center. And one of the things it was called Shot in the Dark. And we brought in over 42 based items, and asked the audience to participate to find what one item did not contain PFAS. And no one could find it.
Yeah. No, it's and people are not aware of that. I mean, I'm sure that, if you ask people, it's PFAS in paint, they probably would say no, or it's PFAS in makeup. But I think there's a program out there. I haven't tried it, but the Ecology Center has a kind of a scan program that you can, scan your cell phone and it'll tell you whether there's PFAS in there or not. So, I think we just need to be aware of all the different options for us to find out. And then because we're all associated with, we're all consumers, we can, certainly work with, people that we buy products from in terms of, getting PFAS out. Or if we're in a city, we can talk to the townships or the cities to use their purchasing power to buy PFAS-free products, because you don't want to have it in compost. You don't want to have it in paint. You don't want to be washing PFAS paint down in your septic tanks. So I just think it's really important to raise the awareness, and that's what we're taking a first shot at trying to do at this time. So.
Well, that brings to mind a question you just brought up about PFAS free products. Maybe we can do an educational around products that PFAS is in, and as well as products that PFAS is not in. Also with around composting. I have been involved with a few people that are composters, and we're finding out that some of those biodegradable products, plates and spoons and cups, have PFAS. And they're actually thinking that that's a good way to compost. And so I'm supposed to meet with a couple of the composters to talk about some of the dangers that are in composting that they are unaware of.
Yeah,
so maybe we
and
could work around something like that.
yeah, and everybody wants really robust packaging and things like that, but maybe we just can't have PFAS in packaging that winds up being composted. Another area that just came up today in some discussions was data centers, and PFAS being in a lot of the high tech industries that we're trying to attract, the batteries and things like that. Now we may have to, if we wanted to have a speaker, we may have to find somebody, or maybe you could help us. But the whole goal was to try and record some of these and then make them also available on the COG website. So we just discussed that on the website review team about there'll be a separate section if we want to record any of these, have Zoom meetings and then record them. We can post them on the COG section of the MPART website. So we want to try and make, if people can't attend, then they can watch those videos, or especially on PFAS-free products, the libraries have websites, and they're at least the ones in Muskegon were interested in having that kind of information available on their website. So, I think it's good to libraries have been under fire for the books and stuff that they have, and I think libraries are a source of information, and I think this is a good way to bring libraries into the focus, because I think it's there are sources of information, and people should can turn to libraries for that kind of information.
I know Mary's got her hand up.
Yes, Mary.
Now, I just wanted to say there's an app called Yucca. It's YUKA, and the actual picture is a carrot, and that actually shows the contamination, and it will offer suggestions for opposite products.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, I will look that up. So yeah, I'm was trying to find the software, or the app that the Ecology Center has, but it's got kind of a catchy name. But yeah, I think those types of apps, and then the Green Science Policy Institute and the PFAS project have lists of PFAS-free products too. But I think that cell phone app would be real popular if we can get more information on it.
Teresa?
I have a question. You mentioned that the cell phones could be scanned to see if they got PFAS in them. Is there any kind of apparatus that can scan products that people bring in to see if they have PFAS?
Yeah, I need to find out information about what exactly that application is. But it sounded like an application that you'd either have to scan a QR code for the product, or I don't think it works like Google Lens where you can just scan something. But Yeah, and that one that Mary was talking about too. So they are coming out with those kinds of scanning tools. So it'd be something on a cell phone that you could scan the product or the QR code.
Thank you.
Mary, do you have another question, or did Rick answer it for you? Oop.
That's it, I guess. Okay.
Thanks, Rick, for the update.
Yep. Thank you.
Moving on to subcommittee updates. I'm not sure who met over the last month, but do we have an update from the public notification group? How about the membership subcommittee? Website development?
Yes, we had a brief meeting today and we got a few updates based on what we talked about last week with the drinking water, Office of Drinking Water, working on developing a revised, some revisions to this GIS mapping and storyline there. That's apparently getting closer to being available for us to take a look at sometime in the next month, and we'll be able to report more perhaps next month. So
Thank you,
that's
Brad. How about engaging the public subcommittee?
As far as I know, that did not meet.
Thanks, Mary. We just gotta reconcile the difference of the committee names on the slides versus the agenda because they're slightly different. Well, I think that'll be it for the subcommittee updates. How about MPART updates? I'm not sure if that Abby, it'll be you or Amy. I'm not sure who's gonna do that.
Yeah, I can, well, between Amy and I, we can give it a try here. Let's see if I can turn on my camera. There we go. Oh, get my finger out of the way. Okay, so, oops, see if I can get all this stuff out of the way. So we've got a couple of new sites, new MPART sites, the former Adept Plastic and Tri-Bar Manufacturing with some, we finally got groundwater data for that site. So it is now officially an MPART site. Also listing the Sheridan landfill, which is a Superfund site over in Albion, as an MPART site, and the DLD Environmental Services in Plainwell, Michigan, also has groundwater above criteria. So all these will have actual groundwater results above criteria. All of them have been assessed to see if we've got any drinking water receptors and looked at by the team. So those should all be live on the MPART website. Amy, was there anything else you wanted to add about any of those before I move on?
Only thing I'll share that I thought it was kind of interesting is that for the Albion Sheraton landfill in the process of evaluating residential wells, there were 5 that we hope to sample. One called back and outright declined. We ended up with 1 access agreement, and then AECom, our contractor, goes and canvasses the other 3. So that means knocks on their door. If they agree to sampling while AECom is there, they'll sample. If they don't, then they leave a door hanger and a copy of the original letter sent to them. So in the case of Albion Sheraton landfill, just as a recent example, we were able to get, last I knew, 1 out of 5 of the homes that we hope to get sampled. So it's still challenging to try to get the responses and help that we're hoping for. For the other 2, there were no active wells, or everybody was on municipal water for the other 2.
Right. Thanks, Amy. All right.
For
So
those interested, I think
Yep,
you're over
go ahead.
330 or 328 sites in the state now.
Yes, what does it say
Whatever
on the
you're at.
thing? 328 is, Kelly, does that include these new ones? The 328? Or is that?
No, it does. Yep.
It does. Okay. So, yep, 328 PFAS sites, and then, another 38 areas of interest.
All right, and then our next updates, we've actually got quite a bit going on. I will start at the bottom and then actually go back to the top real quick. We've got a town hall at our Eastern St. Clair County area of interest. This is one where we don't have a defined source, but we've got quite a bit of Eastern St. Clair County that has some pretty high surface water results. All the assessments we've done for drinking water wells look like they're coming back fine. It looks like they've got a nice thick layer of clay. So the surface water contamination is not getting to groundwater, which is a blessing. But we do have quite a bit of surface water contamination. We think that might be coming from historical applications of either biosolids or maybe paper sludges. But there will be a town hall on that October 29th in Port Huron. That's on the MPART website, or you can click on the slide when you get it. That's online, both as a hybrid meeting as well as a in-person. So because that one's kind of a large area, we thought we better do a hybrid on that one. I will not be able to be there because I'm actually going that same day to the Great Lakes Commission meeting, which is in Duluth this year, and going to present on PFAS and sediments to the Great Lakes Commission. So there will be well, it's supposed to be me and the U.S. Army Corps, which they said they were showing up, but who knows what's going to happen, I guess, in the next 2 weeks with their availability to present and participate with the furloughs and other things going on with the federal government. So that should be an interesting presentation. There will be representation from all the Great Lakes states, as well as there was some participation from the federal government. Again, we'll see who shows up. The other thing we'll mention is there's a couple of community information sessions for the Pellston community. They're working on getting municipal water supply up there. They're getting closer, and so there will be some community updates and informational sessions on October 27th, November 3rd, and November 4th, really trying to get community involvement and awareness on this, because like all projects, we want to get 50% of the people to agree to municipal water. And they do have a good chunk of the city up there, the village, that is contaminated from the airport at Pellston. So you can join them if you're up in the area. Our other thing is our AFFF pickup and our collection and pickup program is pretty much out of money. We don't, not anticipating anymore in the current budget cycle or the current budget scenarios that we're going to get any more money for that pickup and disposal program. So we are not accepting any more AFFF. We are still taking names and locations if people tell us they've got some, just so we can keep track of what's still out there. But it's slowed down to a trickle at this point. And Mr. Jury went out. We had a situation, I think this is something that the COG would be interested in. So every month we get a list of all of the homes that did self-test kit samples using the Eagle Lab. And if any of them look like they come up above criteria or have interesting results, we make sure to send those out to the districts, have them take a look at it, make sure we're not identifying a new site or have something else puzzling going on. In this particular case, we had a self-sample result come up in Lexington, of all places, which is in Sanilac County, that there are no real sources around this one, and was above criteria and had quite a variety of different contaminants in it. So in this particular case, we had the availability to get it back out and take a resample of that, which Mike did today, just to confirm. One, they've got a very shallow well, so that could be part of the issue. But two, we don't have any obvious sources. So I think not in all cases will we be able to get back out and resample. But in some of these cases where the results look a little bit interesting, we try to do that. Which takes us to the progress on the comparability study for Cadillac. We are done. The sampling's been done. The lab results are all in. So we're in the process of putting all of that data together for the residents. We're going to get residents' results out hopefully yet by the end of this week is our goal, to try to get that all in the mail and then put the report together hopefully by the end of next week, if everything goes according to plan. And then we'll be able to present that data to the public and to the COG here when we get it all put together. So I don't think there'll be any surprises there, but we will definitely share those results when we get it all pulled together and written up. So I think that was everything I wanted to say on that slide. Let me stop there because that was quite a bit to go through in one slide. Any questions? And Jason, you'll have to help me out if you see anything in the chat or in the hands.
I do not see anything in the chat.
All right, not going to argue with that. Kelly, was there one more slide? Oh, yes, and the excitement is we are now open for registration for our Great Lakes PFAS Summit. So as a member of the COG, you guys are all eligible to attend for free our Great Lakes PFAS Summit. And so go ahead and register for that. Kelly will have to get a code for the COG. It'll probably be the same as last year, but we can get that out to the team and they can, there you go, right there in the chat, PFAS-comp. And then we will, you can sign up for that December 2nd through the 4th. It's still 2.5 days. And our own Mike Jury is going to do another PFAS 101. I'm calling it PFAS 101.2 because it'll be additional information. It's meant to be a sequential update on additional things you need to know about PFAS. So I think that is all my updates, unless anybody else can think of any. Amy, Kelly, anything I missed, or Mike?
That was fabulous. You did great. Can't think of anything else.
All
Thanks,
right.
Debbie.
All right.
And team.
Definitely a team. Definitely team. Thanks, guys.
So just, I guess one more, more administrative topic is our next COG meeting is currently scheduled for November 11th, which happens to be Veterans Day. So we were bouncing around different ideas in terms of whether we move it forward, we move it back, or we just cancel it. Rick, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I posted a link to that app from the Ecology Center. It's called Clearia, and it's a cell phone app and a Chrome extension. And I've never tried it, but apparently you can go shopping on Amazon or any shopping center, any online site, and then take your product and run it through this program to see if it's got any harmful chemicals. So I'm definitely going to play around with it. So, but I thought I'd just let you know that it's posted in the chat. So.
Nope, appreciate that. And Teresa's got her hand up.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna make a suggestion, throw it out there because it is the holiday season and many people are leaving and a lot of seminars are coming up that we postpone in December's, because that is a hard month for me. And I put in the chat, will that summit information, December 2nd and 4th, be emailed to us?
Yes, the code, are you talking about the code for the PFAS
yes.
Summit?
For the summit, yes, yes.
Yep. It'll be, Kelly can send it out. I think she sent the slides around already, but we can send out the code and the link to the website if it'd be best to do that via email. Teresa, is that the best way to do it?
Yeah, for me it is.
Okay, we can do that.
Do we want to do kind of a quick vote in terms of moving it either forward? I guess would be my recommendation, because if we move it back, I think we're starting to get closer to the actual Thanksgiving holiday, or whether we just postpone. So maybe it's a simple vote about move it forward or cancel November's meeting. Is it
I'm in favor of canceling.
how about if you put your hand up if you're in favor of canceling, and maybe we can count hands?
Does everybody know how to use the raise hand feature?
Yeah, I guess
Able
that's a
to right
good
now?
point.
I can run through the list if you want me to.
Yeah, why don't we do that just to make sure? I don't want to disenfranchise anybody.
It's opening. Okay. To cancel. A yay or nay? How about that? Angela,
Yay.
Brad,
Wait, yeah, I'm in favor of holding the meeting.
of what?
Yay. Nay, I guess, nay.
Nay. Connie,
Postpone it.
Gail Dugan,
Nay.
I'm a nay.
Joe, Lois,
Yay.
Mary,
Yay.
Addie,
Yay.
Rick,
Nay.
Sandy, is she still on? I think she dropped off. Shalene,
Yay.
Teresa,
Yay. I'll be unavailable from the 11th through the 14th of November.
Tony,
No.
Bill.
No, thank you.
All right.
I think it's a
Guys can-
tie. What were the odds of that happening?
Is it really?
Oh, maybe not.
Is it a tie? Do I need to weigh in?
No, it's 7-6, I think.
Would we want to open this up to members as well? That are not here?
7 say yay. 6 say nay.
I mean, in a perfect world, I would say yes, but I don't. I mean, we've done the doodle polls in the past. We get a very poor response.
And I think it's somewhere in the ground rules have to be present to vote or proxy, right?
I think that's
You
correct.
might be right. Yep.
So on a 7-6 vote, it looks like we're going to cancel the November meeting. which brings us to the end of the meeting. Unless anybody else has anything to share.
Thanks for hosting,
I
Jason.
think
No,
we're all good.
pleasure. Big shoes to fill with Sandy stepping back a little bit, and we're still looking for if anybody wants to volunteer to be part of the leadership group. Not sure we've heard from anybody who's wanting to, but Mary and I will continue on, and we'll go from there.
Looks like Tony has his hand up.
Oh, yeah.
I just had a question. Are we, so we're not meeting in November, are we meeting in December?
I would say yes. Yeah, we've traditionally had a December meeting, have we not?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
I honestly don't remember. It seems like we haven't done one in December, but if we don't have one in November, we certainly could have one in December. So Kelly, what would be the date on that?
December 9th.
December 9th. Okay. So after the PFAS summit, at least. Okay.
Yeah, and that's early enough in the month, so it shouldn't be too bad with all the crazy holiday stuff.
Okay. Kelly, is it already on calendars, or do we need to put that one on calendars?
I'm pretty sure it's on calendars, but let me check.
Just in case, just to make sure.
Yep, should already be on everybody's calendar.
Okay. All right. And then I think Jason, Mary, we should probably set up some time to talk about agenda items for the December meeting. So maybe in the next few weeks, we can get together and talk about what you guys would be hot topics, and then we can get that all set up for December.
Yeah, would your comparability study of the PFAS methods be available by then?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's one idea.
Yep, we certainly can talk about that.
And thank you to Christian Park for presenting. That was a great presentation.
We'll pass it along and forward the slides when he sends them through. Yeah, there is some interesting things happening with product bans in different states. And there's a great resource on the ITRC website about what consumer products may have PFAS in them. They have a fairly comprehensive list for those who want to go look. So I'm not familiar with the apps, but yeah, there's lots of resources out there. Well, with that, everyone have a great evening. Appreciate your time and investment here and all the input that we've received tonight. And thanks, Abby and the team, and have a great evening.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.